and we're just gonna believe. We talk about it in the locker room, and I know we can do it, and we're gonna believe till the end.
We're here on the Mavericks Radio Network, getting ready for Game 4 of the NBA Finals between the Mavericks and the Celtics. Joining me all the way from Slovenia here for what was Game 3 and now Game 4, covers the Mavericks for DMagazine, and you can find him on Twitter at Iztok_Franko. Iztok Franko joining me here on the Mavs Radio Network. Iztok, good to see you here in the NBA Finals. Before we get to the game itself, how have you enjoyed your time so far here in Dallas?
Oh, it's great. It's great. Great to be back here after more than a year.
Yeah.
Didn't plan it, or I planned it to be here earlier this year.
Yeah.
Fortunately, fell through. So then made it to the biggest stage, the final. So it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible stage. It's been an incredible atmosphere for the first 3 games. Obviously, we would love to see the outcome be a little bit different so far through the first 3 games. Going into Game 4, what have been your general observations of this series and how we've gotten here to this point with the Mavericks in this position here?
Yeah, I think what we knew going in, that the Celtics are obviously, let's say, the favorite team, even one of the best, I would say, 1 through 6 teams that we've seen last 10, 15 years. Probably only the KD Warriors were the better if you see 1 through 6. So we knew that's going to be a really hard battle, and for the Mavericks to have a chance, they would have to play very almost perfect-like games, very low margin for error, and unfortunately they didn't do that in most games. So that's why we see the outcomes not maybe what we hoped for. Yeah.
And going into Game 4, what has to change for the Mavericks to find themselves getting on the board in this series and getting this thing back to Boston for Game 5 based on what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think first of all, just we need to see the mental approach. Does this team want to fight, to keep on fighting? Does they want to prolong the series, or is it after what has been really a long season, long off season, a long playoff season? Is it like we are already looking for vacation? But I think they will show to fight, and if they do, I think what they need to do is go back to the basics a little bit. I think we saw them because Boston, obviously, especially on the offensive end, they rattle you, they put you out of your comfort zone, and I think we saw Dallas out of their comfort zone, and then they're starting doing a little bit stuff that didn't make them so good during this run. So I think if they can, let's say, manage to get back to what made them so good, that would be the first start, and then just focus. Too many mental errors, too many errors in these 3 games that cost them dearly. So even if the games could be closed, I think in certain key aspects of the game there were too many errors.
What have your thoughts been of Luka Doncic so far in his first NBA Finals? Of course, fouling out in Game 3 with 4 minutes left. The Mavericks still had a chance to win that game, but not ultimately able to complete the comeback. What have your thoughts been about Luka and how he's approached this series and how he's played so far in this Finals?
Yeah, I think it goes like the whole team. So we saw them a little bit unrattled, a little bit out of their comfort zone, what made them great. So I think first 2 games, he was the one who was the only one who felt comfortably, at least on the offensive end. Defensive end, we saw their struggles, his struggles or struggles of other guys. But on the offensive end, he was the only one who was, I would say, lived up to the moment of the finals. Then Game 3 started similarly. First quarter, he was like scoring at will against Tatum, against Drew. But then I think we saw, and we look at, it's often goes to the extreme when things get, let's say, a little bit in strange directions. We saw that being, let's say, emotionally maybe too invested in that Game 3, and then some of the mistakes happened that we said. So I think that is the part for him. It's also a lot of pressure on him physically, mentally. Through these games, he was having the heaviest burden, being really focused on defense of Drew, of Jaylen Brown, and we saw in prior series. So I think that that burden is a little bit catching up with him.
Are we making too much of how the Celtics have attacked Luka defensively in this series? Because a lot of the conversation has been, well, Luka hasn't been very good on the defensive end. What have you seen based on the way Boston's attacking him that's made it difficult for him at times to be able to defend in this series?
Yeah, I think his flaws, or let's say his problems there, are the most obvious, and it's also the guy who Celtics attack the most.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's the only one who's having problem, let's say, keeping Jaylen Brown or Tatum in front of him, or even Drew Holiday. I think most of the guys have, but part of the Mavericks scheme was also to maybe funnel the guys to the paint and then to try there. And I think that first part, although you would hope to be better, and I think I saw some things in Game 3, for example, especially late. I think PJ Washington did a good job of that, not giving up a switch automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So just stay attached to your guys, not just switch automatically. So that's one thing that they can do. But going back to my initial thought, I think staying in front on that initial drive maybe was not the biggest issue. I think the rotations afterwards are, and this is where Celtics are really great. So and this is what we see with Minnesota. We didn't see it with OKC, having that third and fourth guy in Drew, in White,
Mm-hmm.
even Porzingis when he played. They're the guys who thrive on this, being like not the primary attackers, but they can make plays, they can drive, they can shoot, they can do everything. And this is what, going back to my initial thought, a team that is so well-rounded, right?
Yeah.
So this is what makes Celtics great.
Last one for you. How did the Mavericks win Game 4? What's your biggest key for the Mavericks to win Game 4 to extend this series here?
I think we talk a lot about X and O's adjustment and things like that, but what we've seen with the Mavericks this year are like two things: energy, force, focus. So play with energy, play with force, be the aggressor, try to get into them, attack them on the offensive end, try to make enough plays. I call them athletic plays, so that make the difference, to get some easy buckets in transition, and then limit the mistakes, the number of mistakes that you on the other end. And if they do that in one game, if they put it all together, we saw Kyrie being great in Game 3. So if they can do that, combined with Kyrie, with Luka, I think they have a chance to win tonight.
We'll see if the Mavericks can do that in Game 4 to try to extend this series, and we'll see what happens in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Iztok Franko of DMagazine, all the way from Slovenia, good enough to join me here, right here on the Mavs Radio Network. You can watch this on my YouTube channel as well, and we'll see what happens in Game 4. Iztok, thank you for the time, my man. Good to see you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Today's video is brought to you by Aura. Do a Google search on your name and email address to see how much information comes up about you. I was devastated by the amount of information that I could be seeing searching my name and profile, and I knew then I needed to be protected for not just myself, but also for my family. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, email, home address, health records, your relatives, it's all out there. That's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also does so much more to protect me and my family from online threats that I can't see. It's really easy to set up, so I don't have to download several different apps to get things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more. I get everything at one affordable price. You may already have one of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work to protect me and my family so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to aura.com/Kevin Gray to start your 2-week free trial. Please see the link in the description.